I'm going to, basically share what exactly you need to do and why it's not working. I think if you understand why it's not working, that's going to help you even more. And what are the mistakes you may be making. So I'm going to talk about all that, because once you get this in place, once you have gone through, so make sure that you're staying through the presentation, because I'm going to offer you, a path out of this as well. And once you've got this, then you will feel increased energy and vitality. So improved, because you are being guided by none other than your own body. You will see fewer flare-ups, reduced symptoms. You will see confidence and clarity. I think that's one of the biggest takeaways that most of my clients get. And, at least one of them is here today. So I'm going to maybe ask her to share a bit of her experience later down the line. And of course, simplicity and ease, because you will finally have an actionable plan that you know is going to work for you. So my clients have been able to regain their energy without restrictive routines. It's not about very, very rigid routines. Of course, you need to make changes, but they do not necessarily mean to, need to upend your life. They see reduced symptoms, chronic symptoms without endless diets, because now they know which diet is actually going to work for them. And of course, lower inflammation, lower pain, and they make meaningful progress. It's not about whether they will get well or not. It's just a matter of time. And it's, as I said, I started by saying it doesn't matter what disease you have. And in functional medicine, which is all about finding and addressing the root cause of disease, we believe that you need to treat the person and not the disease. Labels are important. Of course, you need a diagnosis to understand what treatment, but that's not enough. And so my name is Anandita, and I'm a functional medicine certified health coach and practitioner. And I simplify this healing process. I make it uncomplicated. I make it personalized for you. So anyone who has chronic symptoms, chronic conditions, I've been doing this for more than 8 years with my clients and for my daughter, for my family. That's how I started. I'm going to share a bit of that later in the presentation. To understand their own bodies, to reduce their symptom unpredictability, right? The uncertainty that you have, and then regain the energy, because you now are confident that you know what needs to be done. And it starts with this. It starts with, unlearning some of these things, because if you're like many other people, and like me, about 10 years back, you've been told that healing is hard, complicated, and all-consuming. And if for some people, it seems like a day job, like it literally takes away your life. And that's where I was 10 years back, when I was trying to actually get my daughter's health under control. And it was all consuming, because I honestly did not have a roadmap that I'm about to share with you in a bit. I did not have anyone guiding me on a day-to-day basis. Yes, I did reach out to a functional medicine practitioner, but who was based in London, because there was no one in India doing this, right? So I reached out to that person, and they did guide me, but on a day-to-day basis, I was like, literally flailing in the dark. So that's where I was. And you don't need to, be in that state. I'm just going to check. Okay. So, healing does not mean doing more. Wellness does not require more supplements, more protocols, more diets, more labs. I think if you're doing everything and it's still not working, clearly there is something that has to change. Right? And typically I find that we need to start with simplifying the process rather than complicating it. And you need not solve each issue one by one. Like I've had clients with 200 symptoms. It is not possible to obviously pinpoint and give a supplement or give anything for one symptom at a time, right? That's not the approach, because the body is a whole. All the organs of the systems talk to each other. So these are the three powerful parts, and I'm going to talk about them. And at least the first module, the model, that is a simple model, because this is woven into my entire program. It's the Body Vibes Reset program that I'm going to talk about in a while. So if you're interested in learning more, stay till the end. You will get an amazing bonuses. So I'm being very upfront with you, right? So I'm doing this because I know that, this is a very unique approach. This is tried and tested, and I'm going to share that. But let's keep moving on. So we have three powerful ways of doing this inside my Body Vibes Reset program, which I'm going to be talking about in a bit. The simple model, the dots model, the care model, they're based on my three pillars. And I'm going to talk about the pillars later on. But just to let you know, it's reconnect, simplify, and sustain. And I think the final pillar, that is sustain, no one talks about, or very few people talk about, or very few programs focus on. Because it's not just about getting better, it's about staying well, right? And that's where the sustain pillar comes in. It's all about self-compassion, self-care, without which you don't see sustained improvements. And we use, as I mentioned, we use these three models. But for now, for today, I'm going to share with you my most powerful and the one that I always start off with, the first one, which is a simple model. And if you just focus on this, you'll be light years ahead of any other woman or any other person who might be trying to figure out what's what their body needs, what's wrong with them, and seeing results. So this is the same method that has helped my clients, go from being dismissed by doctors, being burnt out by protocols, being confused, to clarity, to confidence, to feeling better and at peace in their bodies, right? I am a big believer that we should not just be talking about reversing and reducing symptoms. Life is much beyond your symptoms, right? You are here, you have a lot of gifts that you want to share with the world, and you need to be healthy in order to share it. And when I talk about health, I always talk about physical, mental, and emotional health. I never talk about the physical aspects, because one is incomplete without the others, right? So we are here. So we need to be able to share our gifts with the world. That's when we feel that there is a meaning and purpose. So when I talk about healing, I talk about all of it, because I don't believe it's enough that we just talk about symptoms, right? So, and I'm going to share some of these things, because but I want to start here. What actually works when you simplify, right? We have complicated things too much, and it's not your fault, because if you go and Google some of these things, if you try and Google a particular condition, you will get like a million hits. And even if you try and follow somebody, whether it's an influencer, whether it's a, somebody that you're following on social or otherwise, most of these protocols are very complicated, right? And it becomes difficult to follow them. So what actually happens when you simplify? You obviously accelerate, right? Your progress accelerated, healing acts, because you've cut through the noise, because you've prioritized what is actually important. That is really the key here. You need to be able to figure out what is important now. Like the same thing with my client who had 200 plus symptoms. We couldn't possibly focus on all these things at the same time. So we needed to figure out what are the first three things we needed to prioritize. And in her case, it was gut, right? And it's usually gut for many people, but in her case, it was getting rid of, for example, raw foods, because that was contributing to her gut symptoms. She had massive gut issues. So the first thing we need to do was cut down on her bloating, and because that was, a big problem. She was not able to absorb nutrients. So you need to know what to prioritize and how to cut through the noise. And that's what we did. We moved to completely to cooked food, and actually not smoothies, but soups, etc. It was very easy to digest. So it depends, right? And of course, your intuition matters more than any lab result that you will ever get. And that's a big problem that I have with even the functional medicine approach, for that matter. So many of us are told that you need to get like these 3 expensive tests done before we can even get started. Not true. We need to have 30 supplements in order to get well. Not true. Absolutely not true. Because it's like saying that I'm going to build, I'm going to construct a building, but instead of focusing on the foundation, I'm thinking about what kind of swimming pool I should have, what kind of suites, so we need to first figure out the foundation. And that's what we're talking about today. So when you simplify, and you take a root cause approach, it creates system-wide improvement. For the same client, where we started with just removing raw foods from her diet, that itself gave her, reversed some of her symptoms. See, that's how simple it can be. It's not always easy, but it can be simple. So when you simplify, you stop managing symptoms and you start creating real transformation. And that's why you are here. That's why you've signed up for this masterclass, because I think somewhere inside you've been looking for these answers, right? And today, by the end of the presentation, by the end of the session, you will know exactly what your next steps should be. And again, I go against a lot of people when I say this, that more effort is not the answer. So many of you have tried so many different things, right? If there were, I hear this a lot, that I've tried this and I've tried that. What else will you do? Right? Just the other day, I spoke to somebody, and I completely get that. Like, what else there? I've tried everything. I've tried Reiki, I've tried this, I've tried homeopathy. I said, because you've not really done the right things. You've tried everything, of course, and you are doing your best, but you are not. So you're tracking symptoms, you're following protocols, but you're eating clean. But if you're not seeing results, obviously something is missing. If you're seeing results, absolutely okay. Right. So, but then I find that when true healing actually happens, when you simplify things, because then you are able to focus on what, what is going to actually move the needle. Because the number one issue is that when your nervous system is stuck, it's your nervous system gets stuck in survival mode when you're trying to do too many things, right? You get overwhelmed, it's confusing, and especially when you're not well. And then you're constantly trying this protocol, this supplement today, that particular herb tomorrow. It's really overwhelming for the nervous system. So when the nervous system is stuck in that kind of a survival mode, it cannot heal. Your body needs to be in a safe space in order to heal. And healing does not come from doing more. It comes from simplifying and doing the right things. So that's the first thing I wanted to start off with. And this framework that I'm just talking about, the model that I follow is that, and I'm not going to share the entire thing, but just a bit of it, because I do talk about it a lot in my Body-Wise program, but I want to give you some parts of it so that you can start, taking some action today itself, even after this masterclass. So S.I.M.P.L.E model, it helps women to actually start seeing results without the burnout. So S is streamline your energy. I is identify what truly matters, maximize simplicity, prioritize rest and recovery. We don't talk about it as much as we should. Lighten your toxic load and empower yourself through simplicity, right? So actually the way it works, this is not a college education. So it does not really work in the fashion that you need to memorize all this or actually follow it in that particular protocol. It's not about that. It's woven into how your approach should be. It's the approach that matters, right? Rather than doing things piecemeal. So it's not about the piecemeal things. It's woven in, and you don't need to even worry about the other two models that I have, because, right now, if you choose to work with me, you get access to all of it. But when you simplify your path to wellness, you finally start trusting your body. And that is where the magic happens. Because if you start trusting your body, you will know whether you're on the right path or not. You will know, with or without a lab test, whether it's working for you or not. And you will move from this confusion, from doubt, from worry to a peace, a more peaceful place, more clarity. Of course, it's not so much whether you will be able to maintain, and it'll be like healing is not a linear movement. That means that it's not like your curve keeps going up and there are no ups and downs. There will be ups and downs. There will be challenges along the way. That's just life. That's just human nature. But the point is that even if you have these ups and downs, you will be able to deal with them better because you know what path you need to take. So to just be clear whether this is going to work for you. Now, I want you to imagine that you are able to do this for every aspect of your life. Like, imagine what the results would be. So that's something that, it's an amazingly liberating feeling. And that's exactly what Shweta was talking about when she said that, she was so engrossed in following the process and, the systems that were handed out to her that she didn't even notice when the, changes started happening. And that's what, your results can be like. It doesn't have to be more complicated. It doesn't have to be frustrating. It doesn't have to lead to burnout. You can actually see the results by making certain changes step by step and by simplifying it. However, if you are looking for another quick fix supplement or complicated health protocol, if you're not ready to explore how it feels to heal from within by supporting your body, or if you're unwilling to simplify your routine, or you're expecting overnight miracles, instead of sustainable, realistic solution, sustainable health, then you're probably not in the right place, because that's what keeps us stuck. Following all those approaches keeps us stuck. So I want to now shift to what actually is the problem, right? A lot of us are probably not even aware of there are certain things that we follow, and I'm going to dig a bit deeper, because I think once we explore these beliefs, once we are able to overcome them, then that gives us the path forward. And because I find that they're two outdated conventional advices that our people are constantly, they believe in, and that keeps them stuck. One is, and this is the first one, is I think the most tragic one, right? Which is that wait for your diagnosis before you start healing. I mean, I've had a phone call. I mean, this has happened so many times. I have lost count, where this lady, she had antibodies towards her thyroid, but the damage was not that severe yet because she was not really showing symptoms. She had a few symptoms not connected to her thyroid, but she had done tests and they had shown that her thyroid antibody levels are high. But because she had not shown symptoms, her doctor asked her to wait, right? And that I find is so tragic, because while you're waiting and while you're waiting for a diagnosis saying that, it's there are no symptoms, so you possibly can't have Hashimoto's or Graves', there is underlying damage that is continuing, right? There is cellular damage that leads to tissue damage, that leads to organ damage. That's how. And it's typically somewhere between your tissue and organ damage that you get a diagnosis. But my point is that why do you want to wait till this much damage has occurred to take action? Why can't we start taking action before and prevent those damage in the first place? So we may not even need the medication. So, but that's not, unfortunately, what we are told. So women tend to, and women are 80% of autoimmune disease sufferers are women. And there are many reasons for it, but that's not the topic for today. So they continue to wait, and they continue to wait for a diagnosis before they start taking action. And the second thing is that they, believing that medications are the only solution. Like that's and I am not against or for medications. Medications, of course, are important because medications actually can prevent tissue damage. So I'm not on this, against or for camps. I don't believe that we should be following such camps. I believe that sometimes we need a blend. We need a blend of conventional medicine because it is life-saving. It can prevent further damage. At the same time, we need to follow the path that I am discussing today, which is a path that is guided by our own bodies. So it's not about doing more. It's actually about doing something which is different, right? And that's what I'm talking about. So stop waiting. I mean, if there was one takeaway or one advice, if you asked me for today, and it's what the advice that I give everyone, is stop waiting. Stop waiting, simplify your approach, and start trusting your own body's wisdom. Like that's the approach that we should be taking. But unfortunately, most people are not aware of this because symptoms aren't problems. They are messages from your body. And I have done several podcast episodes on this. So if you haven't checked it out, you can check it out. The podcast is called Embrace Your Healing Journey. It's on your favorite podcast app. Anuradha, if you can you just share the Buzzsprout link for the podcast? I don't think it's there in the sheet, but if you can find it. So there are several episodes that I've done on this because symptoms are like these gentle alerts from your body's internal GPS, right? It's kind of this direction. It's giving you this direction as you go on your journey. And I believe that healing is a journey, right? You have a destination in mind, but you have to follow a certain path, and there are ups and downs. That is how life is, and that's how healing is. And whenever you take a wrong turn, your GPS basically speaks back and tells you that, or sends you alarms, and that's exactly how it works, right? So it is basically a path that you need to take, and your GPS is guiding you, and the symptoms are those messages from your body. And your body already knows the path. It's just that you have never been taught how to listen. Best example I can give you of that is Dr. Terry Walls. And if you haven't checked her out, I suggest that you do that immediately after this session. Dr. Terry Walls reversed her own multiple sclerosis. Multiple sclerosis is a very degenerative autoimmune condition which affects the spinal cord. And, she was in a wheelchair. And she was told that, immunosuppressive medications were the only path and the only way to stop her rapidly progressing disease. So she was already in a wheelchair. This was a number of years ago. And then she took matters in her own hand. And she being a doctor, she had access to many of the research, and she followed a functional medicine approach. Again, root cause, food. She completely changed her diet and did many other things. You can read about her story. And she reversed her multiple. So in a year's time, she started walking. And in 18 months, she was running. She is an athlete. Like, she loves to run and cycle. I think she was cycling. So if you see her website, and she developed this Walls protocol, and she's helping others with multiple sclerosis reverse their condition. It's an amazing story. And if you had any doubt that, whether you can actually reverse your condition or symptoms to some extent or the other, you have to just see some, and read about some people like this who've done that already. Okay. So typically what happens is that the problem that we experience is that, okay, thank you for sharing that. Yeah. We feel stuck in an endless loop of this doctor visits, labs, medications. We are constantly exhausted. We are overwhelmed. These are the typical issues that many of us face. Many of us with these chronic conditions face. And of course, we are disconnected from our bodies, right? We don't really know what's happening. We feel our body is completely unpredictable. And I know women who have used the term alien, like my body feels alien to me. Like I don't even know my body anymore. And of course, many people, many women and men wait for months or even years for clear answers. And that's the unfortunate part of a complex chronic condition like autoimmune disease, which often takes years for a diagnosis because it's quite complicated and there are more than hundreds of these diagnoses because the basket of symptoms keeps shifting. So often we don't even get the answer. So there is no answer, there is no treatment, and the disease keeps progressing. And the other unfortunate part is that specifically in the case of autoimmune conditions, having one condition predisposes you to 3 times more to have develop another autoimmune condition. And there's a reason for it, and I've talked about it in my podcast. I'm not going to get into that, but that's a scary thing. So if we want to prevent further autoimmune conditions and further health issues, further chronic symptoms, then we need to start taking action today. And we can, and there is a path, and I'm going to share it in a bit. So make sure that you are there. And these are the mistakes that we often make, that medication, we believe that only medications will help. As I mentioned, waiting for a diagnosis, that I feel really, really sad about, that so many of us are waiting for that, and things just become worse. And like, for example, I'll tell you, I mean, she is in my mind. Her name is, I think, Sonia. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm a part of a few Facebook groups on autoimmune conditions specifically, and I've been seeing her name pop up for the last year and a half that I've been part of the group, and she is just, she has some gastro issues. I'm not sure what disease she has, etc. I'm just there as mostly as an observer, and I try and help when I can, but she's just going from one doctor and one test to another. And it's been 1.5 years that I have been seeing, and she's, I think, what, 21 or 22. It's really sad. I mean, I've shared with her some resources, but it's not easy to do in a group like that. But it's sad. So, which is why I do the work that I do. And of course, trying to follow complicated diets or rigid protocols, and of course, the gentle signals with the symptoms. And typically, when the symptoms start, it's usually a whisper, which is, and it's very easy to ignore that. It can be a headache, it can be slight bloating, indigestion. It happens from time to time. But if it becomes chronic, then there is a sign that something is wrong. And often what we are taught is to either ignore or medicate them. So instead of tuning in, and then it becomes a scream. That's what typically happens. So I tell my clients that typically before it becomes a scream is when you need to take action. Anam, since I already know that Anam has actually already signed up for the program. So Anam is the first person to have signed up. So I already know. So I would love to hear from you as well if you want to share anything. Any of you have seen any of this, and how would you feel, and what could happen if you were able to fix this, right? And that's the reason that we need to figure out how to listen to our bodies. Like, we need to be able to allow our bodies to guide us, to trust our intuition. It's like following the GPS, guiding you back on track, but we will go off track. It's bound to happen. But if we have this internal GPS, then it's much easier to get back on track, right? So that is what we need to do. I'm just going to keep moving forward, but I would love to hear if you have seen any of that, and if Anam, if you want to share. So now I want to show you exactly how. So this is the framework that is, which is the crux of my coaching programs, and whether it's my 1:1 program, which is called Body Wise Transformation. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in case any of you is healing framework that I'm going to be introducing. And this is what is both my programs are based on. One is my 1:1 program, one is the group program that I'm going to talk about in a bit. And this is the framework that I was talking about: simplify, connect, and sustain. I'm just going to check. Skin allergies only on the knee, along with bloating. Okay. Anam, you were saying something. You can just share that, whatever you want to share. Lovely to see you here. I'm just going to continue. So I'll check the message in a bit. And so this is the framework actually that runs through all my programs, both my programs: Simplify, it's Reconnect, and Sustain. And Simplify pillar has the model that I was talking about. When you actually put together Simplify and Reconnect, and you figure out what's going on, why is it going on, what's been happening, what happened in your childhood. It's the whole thing. When you finally get an, so this is actually the area that I focus on first, and that's in the healing roadmap session that I usually do at the first session, which is in my 1:1 program. And you will get an opportunity to grab that first session right today. And I'm going to talk about this again. It's an exciting bonus that I'm offering for the first time. But when you have these two pillars together, that's when you feel empowered. You know exactly what's going on, why is it going on, and what you need to do and what you need to prioritize. So that's the one. That's one big part of it where you start. Then you have the reconnect and sustain. The sustain pillar I find is usually missing. This is the missing piece, and that's why I'm talking about it a bit more, because this is the 3-step method. So the sustain is usually missing. Most people focus on the other two, which is the simplify and reconnect. And when you have the sustain pillar and the connect pillar, reconnect pillar, you actually then finally end up being guided by your body, which is why I mentioned it's body acceptance. And then if you have the simplify and the sustain pillar in place, and I'm going to talk about this, that is the part which is about self-care. Like that is the part usually which is missing. And that's what makes you feel healthy, and that's what makes it sustain. And of course, when you have all of it together, that's actually when you heal, truly heal. So this is a simple 3-step method that transforms you. And I call this the avatar that we typically have before as a very warrior. You're trying everything. You're probably burnt out trying everything. You're running in a million different directions, to an inner healer, right? So an inner healer is somebody who's being guided by their own GPS, their own map, body's map, right? So that is why. Shonali is here. If you would say hi, Shonali, it would be lovely to hear from you. And this is what she had to say, that it's more like it's a transformation. That's what I want for you too. Because what I want you to happen is a transformation from a very warrior transformation that happens when you are part of a program like this. It's amazing because it is a transformation at the end of the day. And that's what I want for you too. Okay, Anam, I think you have shared psoriasis, elimination diet, topical steroids. Problem is figuring out we change and sustainable for healing. Start. Thank you so much, Anam, for sharing that. That takes a lot of courage to share these things in forums like this. So I really appreciate that. So thank you so much. Yeah, and I'm excited to see you inside the program too. Back on track. So this is Shonali. She's part of the group right now. Shonali, if you would just say hi. But this is the transformation that I'm talking about. It's a transformation that seems effortless. Of course, you are putting in the work, but it will, things will change, things will improve. Why? Because you are being guided by your own GPS. It's not because what I said or somebody else said. You finally know whether you're on the right path. That's the reason I know that it's going to work, right? That's exactly the reason. And that's why I'm so confident of, saying this. So the first step is to connect. Connect is where and I call it connect and reconnect interchangeably, because actually when we are very young, we are connected with our bodies, right? But we lose that as we grow up. So it's about reconnecting with your body's wisdom. So this is actually a model in my program, but I'm not going to be talking about all of it because, I cover this in my program. So DOTS, which is discover your body's signals, own your healing journey, etc. So connect is about shifting from overwhelm and confusion to clarity, right? That's where, and we need to start there. We cannot figure out, if we don't reconnect with our body, we will not know, what the signals are. We will not be able to rebuild the trust that we need to. So this is the foundation, right? Without this, we remain stuck, which is why so many people are stuck. So many women are stuck. They remain exhausted, frustrated. They're trying everything, but the symptoms keep returning and they are not sure why. Right? This is very, very common. So, and this is a huge problem. And that's the reason. And, and you keep hoping the symptoms will disappear, that, when I do the next thing, hopefully it will disappear. If I try this herb, if I try moringa powder, and people ask me that, if I take this, do you think it will work? I'm like, I don't know, because, you need to figure out what's going on with you. And for that, I can't give you all the answers. I can give you the guidance, but you need to now tune in. And there are ways that as I said, these are these modules which will help you to do just that, because your body knows how to heal. You have to learn how to listen. Like that's where the missing piece is. And again, I have a lot of podcast episodes on this that I've done recently. So you can go to your favorite podcast app and look for Embrace Your Healing Journey. I think Anuradha has already shared it. So you can try this practice today. This is a very simple practice that I want to give you so that you can do it today itself. Just spend 2 minutes when you wake up in the morning. I think that's one of the best times to do this. You wake up in the morning, and even before you get up from your bed, just take a couple of breaths, breathe in. It's like a checking in. You know how you check in? And you're checking in with your body by asking, what do I need today? Right? And you notice what comes up. And believe me, there will be answers that come up. And you will get answers. I mean, there will be answers like whether it's peace and quiet today. Maybe I need a bit more peace. Maybe I need a bit more connection, talking to people. So, maybe I need a bit of rest. And you can do this check-in several times in the day. It doesn't have to be only in the morning. First thing in the morning and last thing at night, I find that are very good times to do all these reflection practices, which is why reflective practices, which is why I'm mentioning it. But you don't need to basically do it only, at this time. You can check in. And what I see happening is that if you don't get this dialed in, this particular step, then you keep going from one doctor to another. You keep going from doing one lab test after another. You keep taking the supplements, and yet the symptoms keep coming back. And this is exactly the reason why, because you are actually not being guided by your own internal GPS. And this is so many people remain stuck, just like that lady I spoke to you about in the Facebook group. I mean, for the last 1.5 years, I have been seeing her just going from one gastroenterologist to another. And every time she puts up a post saying, I am seeing this doctor and we are going to do this test. And I've connected with her a couple of times, but I mean, when you've tried everything, it's hard to convince, to convince someone. So they have to be also ready. So I do my bit. And this is exactly where Palak was stuck for a long time. And when she, she beautifully shared this, after embracing this particular step, this, like these steps are woven through the program. It's not like you're doing one step at a time, but, when you are able to connect with your body, the whole thing starts shifting. And, and the transformation also can seem effortless. I mean, as I was mentioning. And in fact, she was not able to go to work for 3 months when she was working with me. Things were so bad with her health. She had to change her entire diet, which was not easy. She was not married at that time, staying with her parents. Not easy in a North Indian family to go off wheat, etc. A lot of challenges, but we worked through that together. And that's what a coach does along with you. That's the beautiful part of working with a coach. You have somebody in your corner. I mean, that's exactly the words my clients tell me, that I know I have you in my corner when things go, especially when things go wrong. And I provide the accountability that you will need, the support that you need, emotional support, not just the guides and the handouts. And when she got that, she was able to make those changes because she knew somebody was in her corner. And then she got married. I mean, things, of course, shifted. She started working in 3-4 weeks. Then, of course, she started working. I mean, she started working, and she was actually quite self-conscious, but her self-worth came back. I mean, she sort of developed a sense of self-worth again. And she wanted to get married. I remember she told me that I also want to get married in a year or two, which she did. And she has a child now. And to top it all, I think that's I'm so proud of that, proud of her, that she also became a health coach in the process. Right? She was so inspired by the work that I did with her that she became exactly the coach I am, functional medicine health coach. So that's an amazing story that I always share with everyone because it's inspiring for me as well. This step I've already discussed with you, so I'm not going to get into deep, but it's basically about reducing the overwhelm by streamlining your practice, right? So I've already talked about this. So you're basically focusing on what truly matters. And believe me, it's not very easy to figure out where you should focus where you should be focusing, because there's so many things going on and there's so many things that probably need to be done, like 20 things maybe that need to be done. You can't possibly do all of them at the same time. But then when you're able to do this, when you're able to streamline it, what is essential, when you prioritize things, then that's when, wellness feels simple. Avoid the burnout, avoid exhaustion. Just by doing this, you start feeling better. And that's where the healing starts happening. And you do this by simplifying one area first. So maybe it's meals, maybe it's bedtime routine, maybe it's sleep, right? So you need to just pick up one. So think about it this way. What's one small change that feels nourishing and not stressful, right? What's one thing? So just focus on and just pick up that area. Okay. And just focus on it. I'm not going to get into a lot of more details on this. But this is exactly what Ananya did when she started working with me. And when she simplified her approach. She first understood, how her body worked. See, again, we come back to that. You need to be able to trust your body, and you need to be able to understand your body's language. And when you know how it works, then it seems very natural, right? And that's what holistic is all about. Holistic is not just about supplements and herbs and naturopathy. It's also about, figuring out the connection with your mind, then your mind and body, and figuring out, how to trust your body, right? This is what happens when you stop overcomplicating wellness, and you actually start seeing results, and it becomes sustainable, right? That is the key here. And I always talk about it, that for my clients, what I want is that they should be able to sustain the results. It's not about needing me to be their coach forever. It should be that they're able to sustain this, right? So, okay. This is the one I find is often missing, and this is why I'm talking about it, a bit more, because I find that the sustaining, creating lasting wellness is the missing piece, because it's not about a quick fix. It's not about a 3-week or a 3-month diet. It's about a lifelong practice, right? You may not need to be off certain foods for the rest of your life, or you may need to be off 1 or 2 foods for the rest of your life. So it depends on the person. There is no one answer. Like, I'll give you my daughter's example. She had massive skin issues, and that's the reason that I got into this in the first place, and I've talked about it in the podcast today. So you can actually hear about that. And Anuradha, you can share today's podcast episode link as well if anybody wants to listen to it. So in her case, I took off gluten, etc. I was trying everything. I was desperate, right? I mean, 10 years back, and I remember very clearly it was Diwali that we celebrate in India, and this was October 2014, and I took her off wheat, and she's never been back on it because it doesn't really suit her at all, but it completely healed her. She was on medications for 5 years. She was just 6 years old at that time, and she was already on oral steroids, and we had tried everything that you can think of under the sun, phototherapy, everything that you can think of for her severe eczema. Nothing was working, and and then she was on medication. Even that was not working, and one of them had a severe side effect, which put her in the hospital. She almost lost her life, and that was a turning point in my life. Like, as a mother, to see your child in the ICU, and she was like this small thing in an ICU bed for 3 weeks, not knowing whether she'll live, it sort of just puts everything in perspective. So that's the reason I do the work that I do. And that led me to functional medicine, that led me to health coaching, and that led me to, that has led me till here. And that's why I'm in front of you. That's why I created the program. So anyway, coming back to her, I took her off gluten, and she's not been back on it, but because she knows that's not really, it's something that doesn't agree with her body. And when you work like this in a systematic manner, you will know what works for you, what doesn't work for you. You will not feel deprived, because you will know that this is something I need to do for myself, and you will feel good about it, right? And so it's become a way of life for her. So it's a lifelong practice. That's what I mean by that. It's not about restriction. It's about changing the way we think about restrictions and deprivation, and, oh my God, I have to give up. You're not giving up anything. You're gaining something, right? So that's the kind of mindset I helped her develop, because she was, of course, a child that time. Now she's almost 19. And because of that kind of a shift as a coach that I could help her develop as a mom and as a coach, she never felt deprived, right? Or maybe she did, but it didn't really stop her. And so when you master this step, you maintain your health effortlessly. Of course, you do the work, but it becomes a way of life for you. It's not that you're no longer trapped in endless symptom management. Like, that's what I want for you, that you don't want to be stuck in this vicious cycle of chronic symptoms, right? And this pillar, the sustain pillar, is often the missing piece, I find. I mean, there are many missing pieces, but this is one big one. Because otherwise, what I find is most women who come to me, they are into these cycles of feeling better briefly and then, going back. And they don't know why. And they don't even know what lasting wellness is. And the reason is because of this, because you are trying too many routines, you're trying to do too many changes, and it's unsustainable and it's exhausting. So rather than doing that, just add one small sustainable habit, right? So it's something that you can sustain. So I always ask my clients, for example, that, of course, we should move our bodies. Our bodies are designed for movement. We should not be sitting, the whole day, etc. It's about cardio, but it goes much beyond cardio and, heart and etc. Our bodies are designed for movement. Let's start there. That's the basics. And I tell them, what is it that you love doing? And then tell me, oh, I don't like going to the gym either, by the way. So I don't actually go to the gym. I do workouts at home. So I've had enough people telling me that, oh, I hate going to the gym. So I'm never able to work out. I say, you don't need to go to the gym actually. What do you like doing? Do you like swimming? Yes, I love swimming. So that is it. That is how you move your body. So, or do you like running? Yes, I like running and I like jogging. I have a friend who does that. I said, that's it. That's what you need to do. And then you build on that eventually. But start there. So start with this one small sustainable habit, right? Even if it's walking, right? It doesn't need to even be jogging, running and something. I mean, it's just walking. I mean, start with walking. If you're not doing anything, just walking. That's how you build sustainable habits, right? You don't need to make it complicated. I mean, we make it unnecessarily complicated. I think by now you can get a hang of that this masterclass is not, it's all about simplifying things rather than complicating it, because consistency does matter more than complexity. And that's when real healing happens. So this is the care model that I have, that I had briefly mentioned, which is cultivating daily awareness, aligning with your body's needs, restoring, embracing emotional guidance. Without emotional regulation and intelligence, we can't really get far. This is one other part which is completely missing in most programs, the emotional intelligence part, regulating our emotions, being in touch with our emotions. So, so this is something that we need to be able to develop. And this is exactly what my client developed, Naila. When she had come to me, she was, at a very low point. And as I said, it's never a linear movement, a curve rather. You will have ups and downs, but what happens is when you approach it like this, when you are guided by your own body, you are able to deal with these challenges better, right? When you're focusing on the emotional health as well as your physical health, when you're building resiliency. So it allows you to, it's not the challenges ever go away, right? We know that, but you're able to deal with it better. And so Naila has multiple health issues. She's continues to have some health issues even now, but she is able to deal with them. And that's sometimes life. Like not all diseases can be reversed, or if there is a lot of damage which has happened, it may not always go away. But there are definite improvements that you can see. You do feel better. You will see improvements, you will see reversal, you will feel better, you will know whether it's happening, it's working or not. And your disease no longer controls your life. So that is the beauty of taking an approach like that. And it's about self-care. It's about emotional alignment, managing your emotions. And this lasting change is inevitable. Like it is bound to happen, right? It's a given, because when you have connected with your body's wisdom, when you have simplified your wellness routine, and when you have sort of, and when you have sustained your progress with ease, these are the 3 steps actually that I just spoke about. Healing does not have to be complicated. So I just want to pause here. And I know, Shonari, sorry, you were saying something. I would love for you to, oh, sorry. I know you were saying hi. So if you would just share anything, in any thoughts. Shonali has worked with me for a while now. And and we are very much in touch. So if you want to share anything with me here. So how many of you, but I want to just understand from you before I keep moving forward, how many of you think you can do what we covered today, right? Because as you can see now, it's not about doing more, right? Okay, let me just see. Not about doing more. Yeah. It's about doing what finally works, like what works for you, right? That's what you need to figure out. And that's what I'm here to help you understand, that what is going to work for you. So whether it's, to work for you to feel more energized, to reduce your symptoms and see sustainable healing. That's my biggest, area of focus, that I want you to go, move to a place where you have confidence in yourself. Shadali, you want to share something? Or you want to unmute?
Yeah. So
Yes.
Can I just share something? Hello everyone. I have worked with Anantha for close to 9 months, and the crux of, there's been a lot that has been shared till now, and I think the crux of all of this is sustain and confidence and clarity that you will probably take back with you after this program, whoever enrolls for the program. For me, I think sustain is because I have been able to connect with myself, connect with the inner wisdom of my body. So we sometimes get very perturbed by the symptoms that we face, but I no more feel that way. I feel I'm thankful for the symptoms, and I'm thankful that they're telling me that something's going wrong. And beyond the confines of the program, confines of working with Anandita, um, the benefits of this has been that anytime there are symptoms that keep coming and going, I know what needs to be done. I have the blueprint. I know what needs to be done. I know what changes I need to make in my lifestyle, and a holistic approach, not just my diet, but even looking into my routine, my wellness routine, my self-care routine, my emotional health. So I can just tell you, recently I was doing everything correctly, and then when I checked in, there was something going on the emotional side, and I slowly started healing that side of me, and I can see all my symptoms just slowly going away, and I'm back to my old self. So it's just that all of us don't have the time to pause and listen to what our bodies are saying, and we just have to just pause, because we don't always need to have someone tell us that, have this supplement or add this to your food. Once you know the basics, once you know the staples for wellness, then it's just a cakewalk. And I think Palak has put it so beautifully well that uh, it just comes out very very effortlessly. So we've never had to put the extra effort. We were never told that you have to eat this many grams of this. You will have to eat two rotis and you will have to eat one bowl full of vegetables. We were just told a framework, and it was up to us to follow all of that. So I think that's what works well with Anandita. She never forces us to do something, and the very subtle nudge she gives us and gets us on to track. So for me, my takeaway from this program has been sustained wellness, confidence and clarity that I can I can sustain on this wellness journey even without much help. Yes, there are times that I wish that I had a little more help, but then again, I tune into my body and listen to what my body says.
Thank you, Shonali, for such a heartfelt um, experience, what you shared about your experience. And I think you have summed up what I have sort of talked about in all the slides till now. So and I have also been inspired by your journey, like all my clients. It's amazing to see what is possible, when you actually take this step-by-step approach. So, Shonali, thank you for coming here and sharing. I think that helps a lot of people to know that there is hope. I think a lot of us lose hope. That's what I find. Like a lot of us is lose hope because we're trying so many things, right? And it's just not working, and we don't know why it's not working. So we just lose hope. So I am really, I really grateful that you shared your experience, right? I mean, of course, I have seen this with my daughter, but it always helps to hear someone else's experience as well. So thank you for putting it so beautifully, and thank you for being here today. So she's already shared some of this, but I want to sort of just reiterate that, there are reasons why when you're doing everything and you're not still seeing, is because one is, and she's actually covered some of them, that you are following somebody else's plan. That's number one. Okay. Yeah. Most welcome. You're following somebody else's plan. The reason number two typically is that you think you need more, you need to do more. So one is that, first of all, the number one reason, you don't need to follow, you need to figure out what is going to work for you, right? It's not a one size fits all approach. Number two, as I said, you think that you need to put in more, but healing does not, as Shonali just mentioned, it's not about doing more and counting this. And a lot of times it can happen by doing less, actually, because doing more is not necessarily the solution. It's about simplifying the whole process. And number three is that it's often not a motivation problem. A lot of people tell me that, I don't have the motivation to do this or do that. It's a structure problem. Like, you don't have the support. You don't know what protocol to follow. You don't have the guidance. And that's what we fix inside the body wise reset program that I mentioned briefly, and I'm going to talk about now. So Now that we have uncovered what does not work, I also want to talk about what actually works, right? So what does work? So a personalized plan, not more protocols. So as Shonali said, again, she's, I think, summed up some of these things beautifully. It's not about more stuff, counting this, seeing that, more labs, more tests. Sometimes it's actually doing less, and it's actually doing things that is going to make sense for your body, right? And this happens only when you actually learn how to decode your symptoms, when you actually start listening to your body. It's not going to happen otherwise. And you have to stop outsourcing your health. A lot of us are doing that all the time. Of course, we need to see doctors. Of course, we need to get medications, and and take certain drugs. They are life saving. We need to stop certain damage, but that doesn't mean we outsource our entire health creation, right? We like completely rely on others to make decisions for us and do everything for us. That doesn't work at all in chronic conditions. Number two, and this is exactly what we do in the reset program. Number two is that you need to simplify, not try harder. Like, again, I can't reiterate this enough, because this is a huge reason why so many women are stuck. And this is what the body wise framework is for. It's been developed over years of working with women like you. And that's when I figured out, okay, this is what's working. And this is when I put it all together. It's taken me a long time to put it together, but it works. So it's about doing things that matter, but consistently, right? And number three, of course, you need a structure. You need a structure. You tried doing this alone, most likely, and you keep going back to square one. You don't need more motivation. You don't need more willpower. A lot of people think that, by sheer willpower, they will force their body to do certain things. It doesn't work. First of all, willpower is limited. I don't know whether you know that it's like a muscle, so it does get fatigued. So it's not about doing things by sheer willpower and pushing your body. It's about, again, listening to it, and the structure just gives you, it's a healing container. So even my 1:1 program, which is there for which is a 6-month container, which Shonali was part of, and the body wise reset program that I'm going to talk about, it's a 12-week container. It's about laying the foundations, right? So these are all these containers that I'm giving you the structure, so that you can actually see real change, and that's change that is sustainable. So now that you've seen the framework and that actually works, and you've heard from Shonali, who has been through this, there are many others, and the 3 biggest reasons why most women don't heal. Let me show you how, that we bring all this together. Like, this is the step-by-step guided program where you don't have to do this alone. So I'm bringing it all together. As I said, it's a 12-week guided program. It's called Body Wise Reset. You have pre-recorded videos, you have audios, and I'm going to Anuradha, if you can share the page for the Body Wise Reset right now, so they can have a look at it after this. There are group coaching calls. There's one group coaching call a month. This is a group program, of course. And then there's more support, and I'm going to talk a bit more about that. There are 2 fixed office hours a month, so that you have additional support. Like, if you have any doubts, if you have any questions, and I might throw in an additional Q&A as well. It depends on what your feedback is, because this is a beta launch. I'm doing it for the first. This program is brand new, so I am doing it in real time with your guidance, and that's why there is a special pricing, and I'm really excited to share that with you. And there's, of course, guides, handouts, protocols, whatever you need. I mean, the works. I mean, you will have whatever it is that you need to see results, right? That's the thing. So step 1 will be to reconnect with your body. So we've discussed this, but this is what we will look at. So you will start tuning in. This is where we always start. You have to start here, right? And that's what we've been talking about. You will shift from fear and frustration to more confidence, more calm. Basically, you will feel peaceful in your body. And this is the foundation. You have to start. You cannot construct a tall building or do anything without laying a strong foundation. And this is your foundation, right? You cannot do anything. And I'll just share the 3 modules that are there. Then, of course, personalizing it. We talked about it. So we will be doing hot seats in the group calls. There is an option, add-on option of, purchasing a 1:1 session as well. If you feel that you need additional 1:1 support, you have the option of making purchase at an extra cost. But otherwise, we will have protocols, we will have forms, everything that is required for you to figure out how to personalize what is important for you. And I'm going to guide you out on that, right? And it's about these small, consistent shifts. And it's about the community. That's the reason I'm doing it in a group setting. I've been meaning to do this for a long time. The community is a big aspect of it. And I'm going to talk about that. And of course, it is embodying your healing wisdom. It's about being in your body. It's about connecting with your body finally. So that you don't feel the burnout. Like Palak has said, like Shunali, like all my clients have said, it's not about doing more. It's not about, doing these 100 things that have to be done, or, you don't have to do all of that. You will have to figure out what, and you don't have to make it so complicated. In fact, we do just the reverse. We simplify the whole process, which is why it seems effortless. Whoever goes through the program, that's one term that they keep using. So you create simple habits, you use emotions as guidance, that is your internal GPS, and you become more resilient, right? As a result of that. So you are not really, sort of so affected by what's going on outside, like your labs or your this or whatever. I mean, you become more and more emotionally resilient because there will be challenges on the way. Like all my clients, they go through ups and downs. Right? That is life. That's real life, right? We cannot avoid that. So don't ask for no challenges to come your way. Ask that so that you become stronger. That's actually a Jim Rohn saying. It's not my saying. It's either I messed it up. I love that guy. You can check him up if you want. He's a motivational speaker. Anyway, I digress. These are the 3 modules. And okay, I'm really sorry. Today I had a major issue with this and I've not been able to do anything about it. So module 1 is decode your symptoms. Module 2, and I mentioned, is personalize your healing protocol. And the number 3 is embody. These are the 3 modules. You can take a sneak peek. Anuradha, you can also share the link for the 3 modules if somebody wants to just take a quick look, and they can take a look. And I'm going to share some of these things in the replay email that's going to go out tomorrow morning. But let me ask you today, if you left today, do you think you'll be able to do all of this consistently and correctly? Like, what is the first step? What is the next step? What is it that your body is looking for? What needs to be done? So that's a bit tricky. And how would you stay consistent when life becomes messy? That's actually a problem that's actually a practical issue. Like life does become messy. And how do we stay on track? And that's what the program is designed to give you. It's a structure. It's a container. Right? That's what typically need. And as a coach, the accountability, the support is immense. I mean, that's a game changer, clearly. And I think Shonali has already touched upon that. And today I wanted to give you the hope and the clarity and a simple 3-step path that I've already shared with you. But if you want to actually experience this transformation, and this transformation is, as I mentioned, transformation is permanent change, right? It does not go back. You don't go back to square one. Like Shonali has already mentioned, you're not going back to square one. You've changed as a person. You will have ups and downs, but you'll be able to manage them. If you want to reduce flare-ups, reclaim your energy, and be in control of your health, then you need the structure. You need the support. You need the structure. And you need a personalized plan that works for you. And if you do that, then this is what you want to avoid. You want to avoid flare-ups that, that leave you wiped out. And you don't know when one's coming, what's happening, why are they happening. You are trying to figure out what your body needs, and you don't know whether today this is the food that your body needs, tomorrow that is the trigger. A lot of people get stuck and they get scared to actually have different foods, starting over and over again, not really knowing. So basically stuck in this vicious cycle, and I call it a disease merry-go-round. And of course, feeling like your body is broken or beyond help, right? So these are all real problems. And what you gain is basically energy that you have through the day, a clear, simple path. And of course, the biggest thing is trust in your body. Like without that, it's very, very hard to sustain, very, very hard to sustain healing. And that is the reason why people do not see real lasting progress. So as I see it, there are 2 options that you have. One is that you try to do it on your own, and you most likely are already doing that. And you've spent months or maybe years guessing what your body needs, and you are going from one doctor to another, different treatments, different diets, and and then you're stuck. I mean, if it was working for you, most likely you would not be here today, right? And you're second guessing every symptom. You are still exhausted. You're still stuck. Or you can start feeling better in the next 12 weeks, right? And I think by now you've understood why this is going to be the case, because you are not just me, because you are being guided by your own body. That's the crux of it. So you are, and of course, then I'm giving you the framework, I'm giving you the structure, and you're guided step by step by someone who's helped women like you. Like this is something that I've been doing 1:1. Now I'm moving it to a group format because there's community aspect of it. And I think there is a foundational aspect that is often missing. So there are different reasons that I do it. But of course, you see real results. I mean, they make no mistake about that. And even then, you might be thinking that I've tried so many things. What if it doesn't work? Believe me, and I've discussed that. Shonali has mentioned that this is going to work for you because you will know whether you're on the right path or not, because you are not just looking at a lab number or a blood report or a marker. You are being driven by your own body, and you will be taught how to decode your symptoms and look at what's going on and what's happening with your body. And so you will know it's working. I mean, there's no doubt about that. And you will have the way it's been designed is for women like you, like with maybe you're exhausted, you're burnt out, you don't have much time. It is designed in that manner. It is meant for women. This is what I've been doing for a very long time. I am such a person with family, with responsibilities. I understand completely, how much time and the lack of time that we have. So it will be pre-recorded. There will be elements. Everything will be sort of given such that it makes it easy for you to consume and to implement. And what if you can't stick with it? I mean, I am going to talk about that, but I think the whole point is that basically simplifying it just makes it easy to stick with it. I think that's the biggest thing that I've been talking about. And that's the reason I spoke about that first model, because that's what makes it easy to stick with it, right? You don't need to follow complicated protocols and routines. You don't need more willpower. You don't need more discipline or a perfect routine. You don't need any of that. You actually need a simpler path, right? And you need proper support. You need proper guidance. You need the accountability, the motivation. The accountability that comes in a group setting is immense. The community. That's exactly the reason why a marathon runner, one who wants to run, say, 42 kilometers, they join running groups. There's a reason for that, right? It's not just random. And even say 21 kilometers, even 7 kilometers, they join running groups. One is, of course, with the technical skills, maybe, but also for the accountability. It keeps you accountable knowing somebody is waiting for you at 5 in the morning, right? To get up and go. So the body-wise reset is a powerful foundation. However, I'm just going to add this one slide. Some women may need deeper, more customized support. This is where the 6-month body-wise transformation can come in for you. So if you're navigating a very complex chronic condition and you feel that a lot of things are still beyond your control, and you need much more additional support than a group can provide you. So it's completely up to you. And you need ongoing support, much longer support beyond 12 weeks. 1:1 support, fully personalized, then this may be a better fit for you. And Anuradha, if you can share the link for the discovery call. The discovery call is also for this and for the body-wise reset. If you have any questions, and you can schedule a call tomorrow, Monday and Tuesday, so we can have a chat about the body-wise transformation. The other thing is, what I've done is that for the body-wise, those who sign up for the body-wise transformation, you also get access to this particular program, the body-wise reset. So you get access to all of this plus a tailored solution. So I think Anuradha has already shared the link for the call. You can, schedule in case you want to. We'll see. Yeah. Okay. Very important. Okay, I just missed that. This is a guarantee that I have. If you complete the program, attend all the live calls, follow the protocols, and we do get to know whether you're following it or not. I mean, there will be check-ins, and you don't feel more connected, don't find a wellness plan that works for you, do not experience progress, then I'm happy to give you a full refund, right? You have nothing to go, lose and everything to gain. I'm happy to give you a refund because I know this works. I mean, there is no way that if you have put in the effort, put in the time, that this will not. So this is a 100% guarantee. No strings attached, but you have to do the work. So this is what it is. Anuradha, if you can once again share the page where they can go and sign up and enroll, the enrollment page for body-wise reset. She'll share it in the link once again. So this is 2 monthly payments of 17,000, or you can pay in full and save 5,000. Okay. So there's actually one spot already taken. I'm looking at about 7 to 10 because it is a beta program, beta launch. So it's not fully developed, which is why it is at this price point. Otherwise, the next time I actually launch this will be in some time, not right now, maybe 6 months down the line. It will be probably at least double the price. So you're getting it at about 29,000 if you're paying in full. So you're saving 5,000 at one shot. And and this is going to be launched at a later date, fully ready, because it is a beta launch. That's the reason that I'm launching at this price. And Anam has already signed up for it. So if one of you are looking at this, then do make sure that you sign up. And there is a very exciting bonus that I'm going to talk about. This is the bonus. This is the bonus. It's called the Healing Roadmap that I briefly spoke about. It is at 29,000. Actually, if you go and check out my website, and if you check out this link, you will see that this is the value of this program. It's a 60-minute 1:1 session with me to figure out. And Anam, you will be getting this because you've already signed up even before the masterclass. So don't worry about it. So this value alone is the price of enrollment. So it's basically, that you're getting this. But it's only available if you join live now, right? So if you join in the next, I think 10 minutes as we wind up, because I know that this is such a no-brainer this time, at least for this particular launch. This is only for this launch, and I may not be offering it every time. This is the first time I'm offering it, but I know the value that this program will provide, which is why I'm giving this kind of a bonus. So if you join now, right now, she's already giving you the link in the chat for the body-wise reset. You can just head there and make the payment and enroll. Then you get this, and it's basically your money back. This value itself is the money back. But this is not all. This is the bonus number 1. You also get, as I mentioned, office hours. I'm giving you additional support beyond the group coaching calls each month, because this is a group program. So you get additional support in the terms of live office hours twice a month. So you're not struggling alone. You're not trying to figure out anything. If you have any doubts, there will be fixed times that I will be online. You can just come and ask me questions or clear your doubts. So, I would love to interact with you and help you out and give you the support that you need to get well, right? And stay well, of course. Bonus number 3 is actually the community, the Healing Circle community that is there. And I have been racking my brain to figure out a way to offer this to my earlier clients. And I've tried different things, but I think this is something that is probably going to work now. And I'm really excited. It's because I'm now using a platform called membership.io. It's a very intuitive, very easy to use platform, and it's not on Facebook. I was actually very clear. I didn't want the community on Facebook or WhatsApp or anything. So this community aspect is a big one. It helps us to stay on track, stay motivated, inspire each other. I think that was a missing piece in my offerings. So I'm really excited that I'm able to basically provide this. This is another thing that I'm giving you inside this program. It's not about doing this on your own. This is something that also you will get. It's a bonus. It's actually not live bonus. It's bonus if you sign up. It's a symptom decoder, because if you're struggling to figure out what your symptoms mean, this workbook will help you to connect the dots, right? It's of course not going to give you all the answers, but it's definitely going to get you started, right? It's definitely going to help you understand what was probably going on and what are the things. And of course, we'll be working on it, right? So you'll be getting my support as well. So this is something that you will get if you do sign up for the enroll for this program at any time. And this is something that I just put in because I love Spotify playlists. I use them a lot. And I had created a playlist which I never shared with anyone. So these are some of my favorite songs, tunes, meditation. It's a lovely mix. So I just wanted to put it up here. It's a curated playlist. I want you to uplift and inspire and energize. It's not just about, as I said, reversal of symptoms or getting better or having supplements or all of that. It's much more. So if you're walking, if you're journaling or daily rituals, you can use some of this. It's not just science, right? Healing is not science. It's actually, it's much beyond that. And as I mentioned, that if you still have questions, then we can talk. You can get your questions answered. I can get a bit about, what your history is, and then you can decide whether this is the right step for you. This will be available only Saturday, Monday, Tuesday. Tuesday enrollments close. And then I am not sure when I'll be opening the enrollment. And even when I open, it will not be, this is the beta launch. Whenever I open, it will not be the beta launch anymore, because the program will be all created and ready, and it will be at a much higher price point. So if you are here, if you're watching this on replay, or if you're here live, and especially if you're here live, then I would and if you think this is the right path for you, then I would really, really recommend that you sign up immediately so that you get the free 60-minute healing roadmap session. But you only get it if you sign up now. Not very difficult, honestly. The link has already been shared with you. If you need help, you can ask Anuradha. She can just give you the link again. And I'm just going to go through this. So this is the free 60-minute healing roadmap session, but only if you sign up now, as I am online. As I said, live office hours, of course, that is something that I want to offer you additional support over and beyond the group coaching session. And the community aspect, I believe, is very important. And you need a community to stay on track, to stay motivated. And then a symptom decoder, a checklist that a workbook that I'm actually creating, which you will find once you join, once the program starts. We will have an onboarding call on the 30th of April. Actually, I'll be sending out mails soon on that. But these are, and of course, the Body-Wise Healing White Spotify playlist. That's a name I came up with. I hope you like it. These are all included inside the Body-Wise Reset beta launch. Like, I'm not sure what all will stay. So let's recap a bit before we end. And you also get a bit of time to decide and pay up if you want, if you think this is the right fit. So this is the 12-week guided journey for women for group coaching. And you have option of the 2 monthly payments of 17,000, or you pay in full and save 5,000 rupees. So this is a small round, beta round. It's limited to only 7 to 10 women, 10 women, but I'm okay with, even less actually for this particular launch, because I am still creating, and I'm going to be taking your help in creating and making sure that this is the best fit for you, which is why I'm doing it in this manner rather than creating everything. And one spot is already taken. Anam is right here, and enrollment closes on 29th. So you have a few days. And just to recap, this is a full 100% guarantee. I always stand by my programs because I know they work. If you are showing up, if you are putting in the work, if you are attending the calls, if you are following the protocols, if you're doing the work, there is no way that you can't see results. You will feel more connected. You will, have a more sustainable plan at the end of 12 weeks, and you will experience progress. There is no way that you can't, which is why I can stand by my programs and offer you a full guarantee. Plus, I'll give you a 30-minute session to understand why you got stuck and how can you move forward. And this I think takes care of any doubts that you have. And yeah, and this is towards the end. This is a bit about me. I've already discussed that.